What's up, MPX addicts, and welcome to the MPX Rehab. I'm your host, the hashtag Certified Mark J. Williams, here with my co-host, as always,
the voice of the MPX addicts, Kyle Smith.
And we are here today with one of the true Irishmen of MPX and of wrestling in general, Johnny O'Mara. Great to have you here.
Great to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah. This last week at Gauntlet for the Gold, it was an interesting show. I will say that.
It was one of the best shows we've seen in a long time, from top to bottom. It was amazing.
It's like I said on Mainline, like I say a number of times before, we always get in trouble if we say something even close to, well, every match was match of the night.
Yeah.
But this one, very much, it was up there. I mean, you look at it's like, admittedly, yeah, the dark match was not exactly match of the night, but it was a dark match. It was also the debut of a guy who he started training when I started training, and he had to take a break.
What was that first word?
Break. I don't know what my brain was trying to go with that one, but it was supposed to be break.
Thought it was like the Brack show or something.
Yeah,
like, hey, we brought that back. Okay.
Don't touch me. Yes. Mictlan, Angel Mictlan taking on Dr. A, which, interesting choice of names. I'm not going to judge.
Well, it's like I said on Mainline. We're capitalizing on the whole Doctor Strange thing.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Dr. A, of the Afro Circus, apparently, because, his music so much as says it.
Well, wasn't their debut or whatever?
Yeah,
he was there, so.
And the next time they came out, unfortunately, he was not able to be here, so,
right.
He wasn't on there with them. But, yeah, Dr. A, Afro Circus. This match was really good, and like I said, he started training when I did, but had to take a break due to some personal issues. And now that he's finally getting to debut, although, yes, unfortunately, a month before we're done.
Well, and it's also a dark match. Was it really a debut?
Okay, it gets
doesn't
him in front
count. Remember,
it gets him in the front of the crowd. It gets. I argue with you. We actually even had plot going with Iron Billy in the dark matches.
No, like I said, remember, I like dark matches because, again, it gives us a chance to either see talent that's coming in for the first time that a lot of addicts or us don't know, but it also is for the MPX students, and we get to see people grow. I think dark matches obviously help. It would, obviously Tatum is good, but imagine if we had dark matches at the time, how quicker Tatum's development probably could have hit. That's, one of the best things about dark matches is it does help being in front of the crowd, and it helps develop a lot quicker.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I definitely love dark matches. I joke saying they're not real, but they are, because it helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's absolutely things that, like, you can train all you want to, but there's things you just cannot learn until you go through that curtain and get in front of a crowd.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's like we've actually gotten to see some really awesome talent, because it was also being used as kind of an audition of sorts for MPX for a while. If you wanted to be on the main show, there have been times in which they've been burned.
Yeah.
Had people that are like, oh yeah, they're really good, and then it turns out not so much.
You can go ahead and say his name because I know you want to talk about it so much.
No,
no,
because actually, somebody who watches us is friends with him.
Does it get you raged?
Actually,
is that what it does?
Actually, I was thinking of Willie Deluxe and Rob Boris.
Oh yeah, no.
And even though
you lied about that one,
I did not. I said they would be.
They're a great tag team. No,
I said they were an entertaining tag team. I will go find that video again and prove to you. I said they were an entertaining tag team. I never said they were a great tag team. But stuff like that has happened before, and it doesn't produce necessarily like horrible, unwatchable matches, except for the one you keep intimating towards. But it does, sometimes bring down some of the quality of the show in the eyes of the people who are running it, at least.
Yeah.
And they have said as much to us.
No, yeah, and I mean, it kind of does when you have and yes, we'll use the example because that's probably the most one that everyone knows about, the Rage one. Everyone was pumping up Rage. Everyone's saying it's good. Everyone's going to say it's be solid, and it wasn't. It was horrible. It felt flat. And it was one of those where it almost kind of derailed what they were doing with Sebastian. And that wasn't, it wasn't really Sebastian's fault if you rewatch that match. I mean, yes, there are two people in the ring, and yes, it takes two to tango and all that bullshit.
Sebastian was doing his damnedest to make it look better than it
No,
really
exactly.
was.
That's what it was. And I believe it was even, I can't remember which part of management, but management said, they're like, yeah, no, we were fed a bunch of lies about Rage because he came in super overweight, which granted, it's after COVID. He put on weight and just wasn't what he was sold to them as.
Yeah.
So yeah, having a dark match and having him in the dark match would have been way better.
Yeah.
But we didn't have dark matches at the time, so.
But yeah, Mictlan coming away with the win on this one. I like him coming in as Mictlan. It's like when they were just trying to have him be security guy Angel, I was just like, but he's got a character. He's got something. It looked good during the Battle Royal at the Texas Rumble.
It did, and he's gotten better because there's been several times where I've watched it and I just kind of cringe a lot. This one was pretty solid, wasn't bad. I mean, again, it's still learning experiences and you're going to get better. But yeah, this is one of the better ones that Angel had looked at. So
Yeah.
no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was all right.
Yeah. Then we got to the show proper where the first match of the night, I mean, you want to start with a banger? There you go. Wesley Crane.
Homecoming.
The devil himself, taking on the Monster Hunter Matthew Palmer, who, again, will be here tomorrow night.
Spoiler.
And the immortal Jason Silver in a triple threat match, and this was actually a really good match. Not just in technicality, because of course these three guys, but also in just raw storytelling, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. You got three of the top talents. You've got three beloved by the MPX addicts. You've got. I was a little worried. I didn't know how Wes's reaction would be, and it actually blew me away. That people kind of remembered, because again, it's one of those weird things where Wes was right at that point to where we have a bunch of the new addicts and some of the old addicts, and we've kind of changed and everything like that. So I didn't know how Wes's reaction was going to be, and I was like, of course, me loving Wes and being one of my favorites and also kind of friendly, I was like, okay, I have to make sure everyone likes and remembers, and I didn't have to. I didn't even start the welcome home chant. I thought I was going to have to. No, other people did, and I was like, holy crap, that's amazing.
Well, as soon as that drum beat that starts his music, although I have to say I was a little disappointed. It was good that he still used in this moment, but I wanted the River of Fire. But it's like as soon as that drum beat started, people started losing their minds already, because it's Wesley Crane, former MPX champion. I've got the freaking poster right here.
And it's like I've said, Wes was the first time I saw Wes. What hooked me was his entrance. Immediately, his entrance, and I was like, "Oh man, I hope he's good in the ring." And then he's fucking phenomenal. I was like, "Holy shit, you're awesome!" Because his presence, his entrance, everything from the turn to the hammer to coming through the curtain, the little skip dance, the whole top rope sit up thing, like all that is just, it's impressive. He sucks you in on his entrance.
Yeah, it's like, how did he put it? Don't waste your movement. He uses every moment from the moment he's like done, before he even comes out of the curtain, to the moment he's in the ring ready to go.
And what's amazing is seeing him in different promotions use different music, and it's the same thing. He knows his music, and he, like you said, it's not a wasted movement. He beats to everything, and it's amazing. And then I thought it was great, again, the reaction for Palmer. Yeah. And you had Palmer mimic his entrance. I was like, holy crap.
Yes. That was fantastic. I was just sitting there looking at that going, it's like, okay, now Jason, you have to do the corner bit too. No?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, not at all. Silver will not do that.
But yeah, it's like, and the fact that it's like all three of them got huge pops just coming out of the curtain, because we got the classic Silver pop. Matthew Palmer, always hot. Wesley Crane, like you said, you were worried but didn't need to. This match was the perfect match to start this night with, because everybody loved it. And then of course you had the fight between the two. You had XV starting to team up, but no, not really. And then
because it's Silver.
And then you had Matthew Palmer. It's like the strange bedfellows thing going with both Silver and Wes at one point. And it's just like, it was the whole match. While it was great athletically, it was also fantastic storytelling wise, because it's a story that didn't get to be told earlier, because unfortunately when Matthew Palmer was starting out the Monster Hunter gimmick, that was also about when Wesley realized that his bump card was about full, and
retirement number 5.
He needed to go home and erase some of those marks for a bit. And this was a great match, and the way it ended was, a very storytelling end.
It was amazing having, again, Palmer using the potions, having the whole bite with Silver and everything, and again, go look at Brian Pulver's pictures, because those pictures are amazing. of the interactions with Palmer and Silver, of the bite and everything is just great.
Need to see if we can get him to come up to Red River and Texoma with us so he can start doing those pictures too.
Yeah. But yeah.
He's a part of Certified Mark Productions. Let's get him up there.
Is he? Did he actually accept that? I don't think
No,
he's going to endorse that.
He actually did accept it.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know if he actually...
Because he...
a lot of us don't get paid. Some people want to get paid.
Yeah,
so.
No, when he wanted to do the AEW thing, I told him, if you want to say you're part of Certified Mark Productions, you do photos and everything like that, by all means, please do. I will sign off on that.
It's amazing how the P actually gets doors open. It's productions. We don't produce shit, but hey, it gets in places.
We produce this. This is our production.
Oh, is this?
Yeah.
This is actually a production.
This is
I
actually.
mean, I'm just a voice. I don't do shit, but
don't worry. When I was deciding to call us Certified Mark Productions, I actually made sure to go through. It's like, is this the right word for us? I don't want to sound like an idiot. I mean, I sound like an idiot usually, but I didn't want to sound like an idiot with that.
But yeah, Palmer getting the win was great, and it is obviously we've only got 3 shows left. That's the last time we see Wes in those 3 shows. That was a great match and a great way to come back and go out. Because like I said, it was, as a fan and a little personal bias with a friend, I didn't know how the reaction would be, and it was phenomenal, and it blew me away.
But yeah, Matthew Palmer coming away with the win on this one. It was a fantastic match, hell of a way to start the night. The next match was one that there were problems insofar as there are usually problems with some of the spots they tried to do with this. But other than that, as a whole, the match was solid and good, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. Phoebe, Morgan Mercy, weapons match. This was awesome. And the barbed wire hula hoop.
Legit as fuck, and I loved it.
Yes.
I loved how... I mean, you could tell it was legit. Gets caught on the apron, got caught on jeans, got caught on the curtain. It was phenomenal. It's always great to me when the barbed wire looks is legit, as opposed to maybe some of the shaved down, capped ones. And no, it was great, and it was.
I understand the use of the shaved down and capped ones, but
obviously,
still there's a level of respect for the people who will go all the way on that.
Exactly. And it happens in every person's first hardcore match. You can look at it, rewatch when Morgan does the first kendo shot. Very weak, very light. Couldn't even tell it really hit Phoebe. That second one was legit, and that's one of those things in the hardcore matches, and Johnny can kind of attest to that, is it's one of those where it's, nope, go full force and apologize later, because you need the sound. You need the reaction. You need the look. It's supposed to be one of the most physical matches, and at MPX, for the most part, which is what kind of bothers me with what was said later on, is this is technically the blow-off match. This is the one where it ends. So the ending did shock me a little bit, and the fact that it was Phoebe, because it seemed like we were building to kind of crowning Morgan as the top female in MPX and having her kind of destroy Phoebe and get her redemption and everything like that. Yeah. And it's one of those where it's like, because even Morgan says, like, oh, we're not done. It's like,
but
you've lost 3 times on a row. That was the blow-up. Like, it feels done.
Yeah, it's like if there had been more of a back and forth in the victories, then actually no. Morgan actually did win that first match.
Well, yeah, and then she got attacked.
That's when she turned.
Yeah, that's when she hit her knee. And that was another thing. I love the use of the change on the knee. It didn't. Okay, the chain didn't necessarily work the way they wanted to, but I thought they recovered well. Yeah. And it still looked good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those.
That's actually the spot I was talking about. It's like there's always a problem.
Oh yeah, there always is going to be. Yeah. And it's one of those where, okay, if we are going to do it in the match, I feel it has to be kind of an I quit, to where it's, okay, you have the weapons, but also have Morgan reuse the chain to get the win. Like,
if this were the big feds, they ended in a Hell in a Cell.
Well, of course, but we don't have cages.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only. To me, that's the only thing I can see coming out of this is maybe a submission or I quit match where Morgan beats Phoebe at her own game.
Yeah.
But no, the match itself, like I said, the match itself I thought was well. They recovered. And again, they learned. The first time I saw Alabama do hardcore matches, same problem. It's not following through. It's not making it look as vicious as it should be.
Yeah.
And like I said, Morgan corrected that super quick. And I was like, okay, good. That's amazing.
Yeah, that first one's always rough to get through.
Yeah, because you're always like, how hard am I supposed to hit? And he's
Yeah, you're
Eventually,
taught.
you just got to go for it.
Yeah, you're taught that respect and don't hurt anybody.
Right.
You've got to realize like it all hurts. It always sucks. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's like actually your match with Iron Belly. The fact that he's like, at the same time, he's like, I don't actually want to hurt him. And then you're yelling at him, hit me! Like, fuck yes! And thus it became Iron Belly's best match. So,
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's one of those where I don't necessarily know where we go from this if they do continue it, because it's like, no, it's kind of it's been kind of one set, like you said. Yeah, Morgan won the first one, but ever since then, even in that win, it wasn't necessarily a win.
Yeah,
like
it may be a win on the books, but it definitely was not a win in the story.
So it's like, to me, I feel it's done. Like, no, let's move on. And plus, we've only got 3 shows. How many more times are we going to get?
This should be done unless if you're having a show that's going to be ending in 3 weeks, then I don't know.
Yeah.
Livy Locust says, "Fuck their shit up." Respectfully.
Exactly.
She also said you're quiet. You haven't started drinking yet.
We tried. He said no.
Yeah, which we'll respect. But then after that, we had the match that was very obvious. They knew who they were going up against when it came to quality of matches. So Exodus Prime, the final boss, taking on Tommy Dean, the actual Prospect champion. Yeah, you even said it on the cards and everything like that.
No.
And it even says it on Cage Match.
You can't. Cage Match is like Wikipedia. Can anybody post anything? Fucking X isn't recognized tag champion. He is. So
I know.
It's all
just
bullshit.
It's the Freebird rule. They should have just put Civil Disorder
Exactly.
with their 3 names.
All 3 of them.
But
Just
this
like
match,
the fact that it should say, for the fucking Prospect Championship, should be Red and Tommy.
that would actually be great, especially with.
So whoever runs Cage Match, God knows you're not watching this shit.
Yeah.
Put both of their names on it.
Well,
Put Exodus on the tag
considering
title.
it's based in Germany, I really don't think they even know who the hell we are.
Oh, then fuck no. Austin does. Austin does. Austin says he talks to people in Germany about MPX all the time. So Austin definitely knows who the fuck
No,
it
I'm
is.
talking to us.
Oh, well, yeah, they probably don't know us because Austin doesn't talk about us. But
Love you, Austin.
I miss you, Austin.
Austin and Dave both are in contact with the.
Really, Dave?
Yeah.
Dave, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dave had said something about that.
I didn't know that.
But this match, Exodus Prime and Tommy Dean, holy crap. This was an amazing match, especially when you find out that Tommy Dean broke his foot, his heel, like a minute into the match. Just came down straight-legged, as you should not do. And seriously.
Yes, please tell us what we should not do in wrestling, because I know you have so much experience.
No. Not even just wrestling. I'm talking like I've seen it happen on stage. I've seen it happen in other athletic competitions. When you come down from any height, do not come down straight leg.
Yeah.
You will hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And so I have some experience with the other stuff. So finding out that that's why he broke himself, that makes perfect sense. But
Don't do moonsaults to start the match. I'm just kidding. It's one of my favorite things. Don't ever stop doing that.
Well, the fact that he still did the freaking moonsault that he does.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. But no, this match was incredible. These 2 guys are top level talents, and
It's the best right now, hands down. And yeah, people may argue it's one of the best in Texas and Exodus, and it's the best in Oklahoma and Tommy.
Yeah.
And yeah, they delivered what, and I think that's the thing that shocked me the most about this card. And I guess I shouldn't say shocked, but on paper, everything looked phenomenal, and then they exceeded all expectations. This match exceeded, the Gauntlet for Gold exceeded, the Triple Threat exceeded. Everything about this card on paper was like, oh yeah, this should be fun, it should be good, and no, it was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Tommy and fucking Exodus are no different.
yeah, no, it's like this is on other shows. This would be he did not strafe.
Yeah, way to go.
Oh, okay.
See, I told you don't know what you're talking about.
No, I just misunderstood what he was talking about on some stuff because he said a minute in the match. I was trying to remember what all he did. It's like there were a few
They
times
did a lot in a minute.
Yeah, Jesus Crow. I was like, I don't know how long this match was, but it simultaneously felt like it was really long but too short.
No, and it's one of those where I guess if I had heard it properly, because I didn't hear it properly at first, because when I'm watching, I kind of just get sucked in.
Mm.
And Sydney was trying to say start a chant, and I just nodded. Like I didn't hear what she said. Apparently it was a fight forever. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, that would have been brilliant.
That
We
would've
should
been
have done
great.
fight forever. Goddamn.
And then we would have gotten to watch Tommy break more people. Love you, Tommy. But yeah, this match. Honestly, I have to say I am glad it was a non-title match and everything. You know, no titles, no gimmicks, no bullshit, just go.
Well, what title would have been online?
It's the Prospect Championship.
No,
you know?
it wasn't there, remember?
Yeah.
Red had his. Tommy didn't bring his Prospect title.
You're getting chopped again.
I probably.
Probably, yeah.
Just
But because
Tommy, please. I don't know how you always do it. Tommy Prince doesn't, and I love Tommy Prince for his chops but they also hurt. But Tommy Dean hits my nipple every fucking
good God.
time.
When Nick Nash did
Why?
that to me, it's like, oh God, that hurts for hours. Ah.
Like it's very confusing at times, to be honest. All right.
Weird as this is gonna sound, this is why I like taking chops from Gabe, because he is always on point. It doesn't matter if I flinch or move; it's always center match every time, and it's great. But yeah,
What you're saying is Johnny needs to chop both of y'all.
no,
we didn't say that at all.
Didn't say that in the least.
I don't do a whole lot of chops. I'm not great.
I was
Well,
gonna
for-
say this is the man who does closed fist, shots, not.
Well, pretty much my whole career, I've taped from knuckles all the way up to my elbows. And the main thing everyone wants out of the chop is the sound.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you've got 4 layers of tape on your palm, I could throw it as hard as I want, and it's just this dull thud.
Yeah.
And so I just never did them because no matter what, you're never gonna get
Which
what
is
people
why
want
I
out
was-
of
I
it.
was just going to say, the sound's not there, but it's going to hurt like shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I'm gonna throw it as hard as I can to try to get what I can out of it.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna get the reaction.
Yeah, that's why I always kind of chuckle when you see these guys wearing the athletic gloves or the UFC gloves throwing chops. It's like that's not going to create any sound whatsoever. So it's going to hurt like hell because you're going to try, like you
And then
said.
you have JD.
Oh, God. That's JD. That's
I was
a
gonna say,
totally different story.
No
here.
matter what JD throws, it's going to fucking hurt.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely talk about that
Oh,
later.
yeah. But yeah, Exodus Prime coming out with a win on this one. Like I said, I'm kind of really glad this wasn't a Prospect Championship match because it made perfect sense how this match ended because of how much it took for him to be able to do that, and then him bringing out the titles,
Yep.
both championship titles.
Oh yeah, because he's what? Oh yeah, he's a tag
1/3
champion.
of the
Goddamn.
MPX Tag Team Champion.
Fucking cage match.
But excuse me. But yeah, it's like with everything like that, the storytelling was just it should not have ended any other way, in my opinion.
No, yeah.
And Tommy losing the belt, especially with what we're getting next week.
Yeah, we're finally getting our wish.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Hi. Sorry, dog decided he was going to come say hi and lick my ankle. Weirdo.
Gilligan's like, what?
But yeah, no, this match was freaking fantastic, and I hope that wherever it happens elsewhere, I hope we get to see this again with much higher stakes than before. I mean, the first time we saw them face off against each other was for the Addicts title, which is a big enough deal as it is. But I'm talking like top championship somewhere.
Oh yeah, they're both destined for, and I think that's one of the things about MPX closing. Which yes, I am still in a firm belief that MPX will be a hiatus. It will not be the same because obviously management will change, but it will be back. But
especially with those posts from Marcus on Saturday and a couple days after,
Yeah.
just like seriously, man, stop playing with us.
But it's one of those where there's so many people. Like that was one of the first concerns is, what's going to happen to this? What's going to happen? What's going to the people who are stars like Exodus and Tommy, they're going to be fine. Like they're going to go. They're obviously going to get booked. And yeah, there are some that may kind of fall and be less booked.
I have been told by some people that it's like as soon as MPX is done, that's it, because they were MPX.
Right, and I get that. So there's a lot of people loyal to the management that is there, and rightfully so. But it's one of those where their future, you can't deny talent, and their future is so bright. And it's I'm shocked with everything X has done that we get him as much as we do. Because he's one of those that's like, as soon as that Addicts title reign was over, and with what he did with that Addicts title reign, he should be making hundreds, thousands, millions of dollars, and should be booked Thursday through Sunday. Like, that guy is incredibly talented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, then we had the match that, oh geez, Jim Crow. This one kind of blew everything out of the water in a lot of ways. 50 caliber Barrett Brown versus the bear fighter Dmitry Alexandrov. Holy crap!
Bangers only.
Yeah, it's like Dmitry promised one last banger, and holy crap, did we get it?
Yeah.
It's like the only match with Barrett Brown that I'm expecting to be better is the one we're gonna get at Purple Rain.
Spoiler.
Hey, you know, I'm not even gonna.
But no, it's one of those where it is obviously with Barrett's training and the New Japan dojo in LA is, you can tell
The
like,
one in LA, not the one over in Japan that's currently going through some shit.
And I think I even said that last week. I don't get how they're, to me at least, watching New Japan for the 6, 7, 8 years, whatever I have watched it. Their junior division is lacking right now. How they don't find a way to bring Barrett to that, I don't understand, unless it's a whole still American Japanese travel issue. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Because like when they.
He wants me to stop you, so you quit turning away from the mic, and Jay needs to move the mic closer.
All right.
How about if I just move it closer, that way I can still turn.
Yeah.
But it's because they just announced the participants for the Super J Cup, and how Barrett is not a part of that. I don't understand. Barrett has worked his ass off and has become, he was already good. He's become phenomenal. And everything he's learned, everything he's gotten is perfect for that. He could carry and lead that junior division. And for some reason, it just hadn't happened yet. And I still think it will happen. I think it will happen sooner rather than later. I know I've said that for 2 years, but it's going to come, and it's going to get there. And he's going to be one of the biggest stars that New Japan will have. I really do believe that. And you look at this match, and you can tell it is. And granted, some of the addicts probably don't watch enough New Japan. It is a Japan match. This match that Dmitry and fucking Barrett did were phenomenal. I mean, and we're talking about chops. Fucking Barrett got busted open on a chop on the first one. Dmitry threw.
Yeah.
Drew blood. Like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah. It wasn't the last blood of the night, but it was definitely the first. But yeah, no, this match was incredible. Just watching these two put on the clinic of it was just, it was like, seriously, they both deserve to be in Japan.
They do, and I feel this was way better than the first encounter we had it was Texas Famous, I believe, last year. This match was amazing, because again, you got one of the best in the world in Barrett Brown, and you've got Dmitry, who is one of the best in Texas, trying to prove he's one of the best in the world. He's one of the last true road warriors. He fucking travels everywhere that will have him. And Dmitry and Barrett put on one of the best matches we've seen in MPX in a long time. I compare it a lot to Dimitri's match of the year candidate with Luke, because it was almost the same style, so to speak, as far as the whole. It is a all Japan, New Japan type match, and it is by far one of my favorites I've seen live. It was great.
Yeah. No, it was fantastic. But Barrett Brown coming away with the win on this one, kind of, sort of, a little expected, but at the same time, it could have gone either way with how this match went.
I mean, but was it expected? Because Dmitry won last time.
No, true.
Like, you know.
But then again, that's kind of also the same reason why it was almost expected, because, you know, that way, now they've got 1-1.
I think it's 2-1. I think they wrestled in Oklahoma once. I think Barrett is 2-1.
That's Oklahoma, dude.
Oh, yeah, that's
seriously.
Right. Sorry, Tommy. Oklahoma apparently doesn't count. That was from Jay.
He's the king of Oklahoma. Remember King Shit?
Yeah, he's King Shit.
You're the one who coined these terms.
He's the one who actually endorsed it. So
yeah,
all right,
that's
cool.
That's why I'm not afraid of actually using them. But, yeah, and then, of course, we had the main event, which the whole story around it that night was just, it was hilarious and amazing, and it ended in such a way that I'll admit I've still got some kind of Mark feelings about it, I guess you could say.
I love how they pulled the Eddie Guerrero Royal Rumble spot with Prince and Tatum. That was just great. And I mean, I love, because I've said it from the start when he started doing the Hilda thing. I was like, no, I want a manifestation. I want an actual human. Like, before Jinx was Jinx, I was like, this would be perfect. Have her be Hilda. That would have been great. And then she did Jinx. I was like, all right, well, that's scrapped. We need something else. We need an actual Hilda. And we got it, and I love it. I think it's great.
It's kind of like the Sister Abigail thing. You know, everyone kept expecting Sister Abigail to show up, and now we've got this with Hilda, which just proves that, you know, Richard knows when things are. I'm sorry. Richard, since he brought her in.
It's 3 weeks. Knows. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. If you don't know by now, then you're never going to know.
But no, I thought it was great. And I think, I never remember the first name. I'm sorry. But Mendez did very well.
Oh, yeah.
As Hilda. It was great.
It took me a bit to recognize her. I was like, who is that?
And I didn't realize. It was a sister thing. I didn't realize that at all. So with him explaining that, I was like, okay, that's cool.
I didn't know if it was
and it actually makes sense.
Supposed to be a partner or what.
Well, that's the thing. I thought it was.
Like, oh, okay.
I thought it was just a best friend thing, but him having the sister and that gives more to the reason he's so relatable and the relationship they have. I thought that was brilliant. And granted, this is the only shit you see on Facebook, but it's again, follow your wrestlers on Facebook because nowadays. Everything is told through social media. It's through Twitter. It's through Facebook. It's through Instagram. That's where you get, at least independent-wise, you get a lot of the stories out of social media.
Yeah. And, of course, Tommy, with his amazing delivery of certain lines, just stopping, looking at the camera, exactly how I remember her. I'm like, oh, my God.
Well, and that's the other thing. I love this. He's still the Mad Prince, but we've got a different Mad Prince. We've got the sane, calm Mad Prince. I loved it. Everything he has done. He's one of those.
It's the, rather than just accepting that he's an insane Mad Prince, it's the one, no, I'm fine. Really, I'm fine.
No, Tommy is.
Sure.
Tommy is one, he's a lot like Dave. No matter what you give him, he knocks it out of the park.
Considering how much of the artiste I've seen and how he's been doing the pictures every day with the titles.
Oh, I love it.
I'm just like, oh my God, this is giving me Dave the artiste vibes.
Hashtag Tommy Two Belts forever. It is great.
We'll see.
Yeah, I know. We'll definitely see. But no, he's one of those that it seems no matter what you give him, he's going to go full force into it, and he's going to be like, no, I'll fucking make it work. And he does. And you can see the subtle changes, and those subtle changes, at least for someone like me who overanalyzes wrestling admittedly, you see and you pick up on, and it's like, holy shit, this just adds to it and makes it better.
Yeah. No, and it was incredible. And this match, the match itself was also really good because you had the Mad Prince coming out with Hilda with him, and, starting out first because obviously he knew he was supposed to be number 6, but for some reason his number changed, and that's not right. That means somebody, obviously Tatum stole his number. That's right.
Well,
That's right. It was fantastic the way he just like no. And then Red Chambers coming out with the fact that these two have been going back and forth about I'm going to be Red Two Belts, I'm going to be Tommy Two Belts, and everything like that. Is like just the fact that it starts with them settling who's actually going to end up as two belts at the end of this, if either of them.
Yes.
And, it's the fact that these two put on just an amazing match, given that, they started close to the same time to begin with.
Yeah.
I know they debuted like almost the same night.
Debuted at MPX or debuted? Because I know Mad Prince did things elsewhere.
Yeah, no, he did CWF first, but I'm talking him and Red debuting at MPX on this. It's like I can't remember exactly. I know that Red took on Brixton Shaw for his first match.
Well, and I feel both the boys would admit, like, okay, they started elsewhere and they had trained elsewhere, but it was MPX that really kind of built them.
I was going to say,
and made them who they are.
Said it live here.
No, I know, and people hate when I say that because it's like I always say, I'm like, Malico would be not where he is or who he is without MPX.
Yeah, absolutely. Malico would eventually have gotten himself over.
He would have.
Especially with the reveal. I mean, if you knew, you knew.
Right.
But it's like the fact that now he's actually out in the open with it.
Which I like and don't like. It's one of those weird things. I'm like, I liked the fact that it was kept hidden, and now that it's out, I'm like, okay, yes, people will recognize. He was already great, but how amazing that was with that. But it's also one of those things where it's like, if you keep that hidden, it kind of makes it even better when you. It's kind of like a retirement moment. Like you don't reveal that till the end. You know what I mean? Like it's like Kerry Von Erich. No one knew Kerry Von Erich had a fake foot till he fucking died. Like it's like what the fuck. But yeah, no, that was a great reveal at the show. What was it? Pele.
It was
Yeah. So having that was great, and then like I said, going back to MPX, this match. When you have the 6 competitors you have, there's probably not a better way to start than Mad Prince and Red, because you've got 2 young guys. Both have claimed, I'm going to be Tommy 2 belts. I'm going to be Red 2 belts.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I love how, because it was one of those where we almost, at least after that, with the knee injury and everything, you're like, they're going to do, it's almost kind of like a turn. You almost thought, Tommy, this is going to be the turn we're going to see with Tommy, because you know it's eventually going to happen where he splits and he's going to be face again or whatever. But you're like, he's going to go all the way. He's going to go through all 5 competitors. And
well, admittedly, the stopping point was the most logical stopping point if he didn't go all the way.
No, yeah, it was, and it was like I said, I don't think there was a better way to start off unless you started out with what became the main event. There's no way better start than Tommy and Red, and it was a great match.
Yeah. Then of course Red losing in that initial matchup. Johnny coming out, and of course earlier in the night you had been approached by Stephen Kirby saying that this is going to be my night. This is going to I've only got a few weeks left and everything like that. And you just even in that vignette you had that look of, who the fuck do you think I am? Yeah. It's like, even as the black-hearted bastard, you're nobody's crony. Yeah. It's like it felt like, the whole teaming up with management was kind of just a thing of convenience for the character of the black-hearted bastard.
Means to an end, more so than any particular loyalty to the whole situation.
Yeah. So it's like you coming out and just basically saying, this is my night, and just going into that match. And hell, you put Tommy through his paces.
Yep.
It's like, I have to say, it's like, on the one hand, I like you as a face. I like being able to cheer for you as the mark and everything. But on the other hand, the viciousness you brought into it, being, the black-hearted bastard, has just like, that is so awesome to watch.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun too. I like doing the heel stuff and getting able to be the vicious, and I like, it's a more fun style to me, and it's more true to my actual background, because I've got legitimate combat background.
Yeah, Richard was telling us that you're a boxer.
I've done boxing, a few different martial arts. I got in trouble a lot early on.
Gee, what a shock!
And my corner spot where I get him into the corner and I do the boxer punches. I started doing that to begin with, just to have a little something to do.
And people did not take that so well because they connected?
No, actually, I actually know how to throw them really safely, despite what they look like. But when I first started doing it, I threw them like a boxer. Everything was real tight and tucked in, and I would do it, and Richard and Kirby, as soon as I get to the back, they'd be like, no one can see what you're doing. It doesn't mean anything. If you can't open it up, don't do it. Because it's like, they were like, it looks like, we know what it's supposed to be, and from a realism perspective, it looks great because you know what you're doing.
If you could have someone like Ross right there, able to watch those hits and everything, that's probably looks a whole lot better.
Yeah, but it's like the third row, it doesn't look like much.
No, it doesn't.
And I just decided, all right, well, you're telling me I'm doing it wrong, so I'm going to make it right and make it bigger, and I almost keep doing it out of spite at this point. Just as like, no, like it was something I liked and I liked the way I did it, but everyone bitched about it. So now I've fixed it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep doing it.
Hey, if it looks good, then it works, because it gets people to just enjoy it.
No, it did. And it's one of those where you look at the competitors. Obviously, we've heard stories about how he's got the brick style with Mad Prince, like how very, stiff, snug, whatever he is. You've got Johnny, same way. You got Jerome the same way. You're like, holy crap, those competitors right there. And then to have Tommy go through both of them, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, Tommy definitely probably felt a certain way at the end of that night.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we already know how snug you like it and everything. We know that, like he said, with the brick style, and Red's not afraid to go all out. That man.
No, you can't kill him.
Bro.
He challenges Silver for the immortal can't kill me title.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm unkillable anyway. I'll just go to the Pokemon Center and get myself healed up again. Yep. You're never getting away from that. I just want you to know, I will always be here, Red, and I will always bring it up. You can be like world champion at like a major promotion, and I'll be like, yeah, this Pokemon dude here. But
so glad he got away from that. Good shot, Red.
No, it does work. It does work better for him and everything. But yeah, it's like that was good. The incredible match with you, ending the way it did. Especially, it's like the fact that it was very obvious how much he had to dig deep just to be able to beat you.
Yep.
And then the look on Tommy's face when he hears Jerome coming out.
Yeah.
JD Griffey coming out, and just it's the look of why. Why now?
Right. Well, and even then, if you look at who's left, okay, Tatum, Kirby, or Jerome.
Yeah.
It's hard to go through anyways. To start number one and to try to go all the way through these men, you can't.
Well,
you can't.
I mean,
and we
he
saw
probably would have been okay fighting, if just looking at it, he probably would have been okay with fighting Kirby because Kirby, is like, I've done this before. I can do this. It's no problem. I'm different. I'm stronger. I'm better. I can do this. With Tatum, that would make him excited because if he beats Tatum, no matter what, he has the chance of being the MPX champion, no matter what else happens. It's the
possession's 9 cents of the law. He is the spoiler. He is the MPX champion.
So Tommy Dean is the prospect champion. So
nope, fake title.
But
Red's got the real one.
No, you're gonna get chopped again.
I know. Just don't hit the nipple, please.
But it's like just the look of it's like, why did it have to be him next? Because he's already tired. His knee's already messed up. He's just ready to be done with the night in a lot of ways. But
and Jerome's already dangerous. You definitely don't want to show a weakness like, oh, my knee hurt and I'm limping everywhere.
So you got a fresh Jerome and injured Tommy Prince. Of course, things are not gonna go well for poor Tommy. And the thing is, he didn't even go for the knee. Jerome didn't even have to touch the knee. It was "Good night, sweet prince."
And I love how that chant got started.
Yes, I was so happy. I didn't even have to start it.
I know, and it was one of those where I was like, okay, that's very clever. I actually, good job, Addicts. I actually like that. But no, it was one of those where it also did shock me too.
Tommy Dean says all the nipples.
God damn it.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
But no, it's one of those where it's like. Again, I thought Tommy was going to go all the way, and then, okay, yeah, maybe Tatum, Silver Saints, whatever, but Tommy's going all the way, and then it got stopped. I'm like, holy shit, what are we doing? Like, I actually, for a minute, I was like, oh, it could actually be Jerome or Kirby. Like, that it may not be Tatum. Like, it definitely threw a shock factor into it.
Yeah. And then, Kirby comes out, and of course, he and Jerome, the history those two have, and just the recent history of them butting heads, finally being able to go at it like
that. And I love the fact that, because again, one of the best things about Kirby, he's amazing in the ring, but he's also great on the mic. Yeah. So giving him the mic time to be like, no, just, hey, lay down. I've only got 3 matches. Lay down. It's my time. It was brilliant. Let me
have the poke of doom here, man.
Exactly. I thought that was great.
Yeah. But yeah, the match between the two of them, and then of course, JD ending it just like he did with Tommy, put him in the sleeper hold, nap time, and then the final bout, the Tatum Manning, JD Griffey, who is like, he's been in longer, but he's still, he's Jerome Daniel Griffey. He is the king of MPX.
Well, and
it's like everything like that. This is a dangerous match for Tatum Manning, regardless.
It is, and it's one of those. I think, like I told Tatum afterwards, and I'll obviously say it here. It's one of those where Tatum's always been good. I've always liked Tatum. I've always liked Tatum's destined for great things. This match made him a fucking star, and it's not even just the whole broken nose and everything like that. He looked so good in this match, and a lot of that is yes to Jerome, because Jerome was a phenomenal talent to work with, but Tatum, we saw a different viciousness of Tatum. We saw a viciousness at Purple Rain and Red Rain and everything like that, but this was a different viciousness with Tatum against Jerome, because you saw he immediately ran to the ring. Granted,
Yeah.
maybe that a lot of that may be time constraints, but he went in there and you could tell Tatum was ready for a fight. And I think again that goes to Tatum's whole, I hate to say action ability, but that's Tatum's character. He knows when to turn it on and he wants to know the kind of, hey, I can kind of coast through it. He was on the entire night. And having Tatum go out there and do that, I thought it was great. And it was way better than, and again, it's a lot of it was on Jerome, because we even said Jerome versus Legs, we're like, we don't know how this is going to work out, and it's one of Legs' best matches. And that also goes to Jerome. Jerome can work with anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, Jerome is a phenomenal talent, and Tatum was made in a lot of ways by how he did, but also by beating Jerome.
Yeah. And the fact that it's like, yes, it was a roll up, but the fact that it wasn't, there was.
It's the only way you can do that.
Yeah.
If Tatum was to hit the whole clout chaser or whatever, it lessens it, I think. To have him sneak by with a win is the way to do that.
Yeah. Because it keeps Jerome looking as strong as he really is and everything, and it keeps him, it's like, and it makes Tatum look, like a tactician.
Yes.
Because it's like, especially with the amount
he
that
outsmarted him.
It's like he knew what he was in for against JD, so that you saw every counter he had against that lock.
And it was one of those I kept thinking the whole time. I was like, okay, we're going to get Bret Hart, Piper WrestleMania finish. We're going to get the whole, reverse of sleeper hold into a pin.
And that almost happened.
No, it did. And I was glad they didn't do that because it is somewhat a little predictable.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, Tatum was made in that match. Tatum is always been good. This proved that this kid, I can say kid because he's like fucking 15 years younger than me, is fucking star and a future in this business if he chooses to.
Yeah. No, it's incredible, and this match made me so happy to watch because it's like I'm a huge fan of JD Griffey already. And, we've been fans of Tatum since the beginning because we watched him grow from kind of unsure of who and what he was to what he is now.
Hi, Remedy.
What? Oh, hi. Wait, is it Remedy or the disembodied voice?
It's Remedy.
That's Remedy.
Can't have it disembodied. I'm the voice. There's no disembodied.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's like, yeah, you go ahead and say that to him.
I haven't had enough drinks yet to say that, so no.
Hey, all I know is that he's been talking a lot as both the disembodied voice and Remedy, and he said the one word that matters most to every MPX addict. Soon.
Yep.
But
yeah.
Unfortunately, I have no control over that. They're the mods, him and Lily. They're the ones who control all of that one. So, it's like if you watch on Facebook, he can't ban you there.
Yeah, he probably could.
Yeah,
He'll find a way.
He'll find a way. There is a way to actually block people from the page. I've had to do it a couple times. But
thank you, Mad Prince. No one does listen to Jay.
This is true.
Because Tatum won the match. Then what happened?
Yeah.
go
Then after
ahead.
that, we had the the reappearance.
We
of
had
Tommy Prince.
we had the original plan that was supposed to happen. You forgot
bell.
one.
Huh?
You forgot one.
What?
There's a Sunday show.
Yeah, there's a Sunday show. The voice of MPX.
Okay, never mind.
What?
Anyways,
Oh, we'll get that later. Yeah, but yeah, no, the reappearance, and I'm just like I said, I'm still kind of got some marked feelings about this.
the original plan still happened. That's all that matters.
I won't say that it was bad storytelling because it was great storytelling because it was unexpected because it wasn't where I saw Tommy Prince going. I saw this being a Red Chambers spot, but using it as the Mad Prince, Tommy Prince, and everything like that, or Tomothy Prince. God, Tomothy and Gabraham, I love you guys for that. I just want you to know that. It's like the complete shoot. I love you guys for that one.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, it's our future third man on the on our live show after Fridays.
I didn't agree to that.
You
Last time we had a third guy, it didn't work.
Yeah, but this one's reliable.
Touche.
Sorry, I'm not gonna. Nope, I'm not gonna talk that stuff. But yeah, it's like the fact that it's like, I mean, come on, Tatum had already been through the ringer. He broke his flipping nose.
Yeah.
Against JD Griffey, so he's already beat to hell. And with JD giving him the flowers, I guess you could say, or as he says,
Right.
giving him his flowers and basically showing him the kind of respect that JD shows people who actually best him. And, you know, it's like he, well, of course, wasn't ready. And I loved the fact that after...
Abraham, he just showed up.
Oh, hey, Gabraham. Tommy Prince comes in and lays out Tatum, taking out his shoulder and stealing the belt. There was no pin.
Why are we talking about threesomes in the chat?
What?
I'm just asking.
Say
I
what?
don't. Someone said threesome, so I was like, why are we talking
It's
about threesomes?
Livy.
But okay.
It's Livy. It's Livy.
That's supposed to make sense to me.
It is if you hang out with Livy.
Touche.
Rusty.
But yeah, this match or this ending to the match and everything like that, it works. It works, especially with the evolution of the Mad Prince.
Yeah, we have
and
the.
everything. Like
You know, we're at Metro Prince Wrestling, so
Metro Prince Wrestling.
it is. That's exactly what it
Okay.
is. The prince is finally being crowned, and it's amazing.
I guess that means we're officially retiring Metrodex.
Yes.
Oh,
Well, he retired himself, technically.
I know,
so.
but it was still Metro. He showed up enough times that it's still Metrodex Wrestling.
But no, I love, and I guess the SAGs, we only got 3 weeks left, and this is a story that should be built for months.
I think that's actually why I'm feeling just kind of like this doesn't feel right to me.
Right.
It's like it doesn't feel like it's had enough time to really build. That's my opinion. I'm not the booker, and obviously the booker knows what he's doing.
We've seen them build a lot of things quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So and
I
as
mean,
many
hell,
years as I've watched
one
MPX,
of our favorite MPX championships came out of freaking nowhere.
yeah, and it's one of those where it's been enough years where I trust fully MPX management in what they do.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't read that yet. But no, it's God. I saw your face. I probably should. Nope. I'll wait. I'll finish my thought and then read it.
Don't.
But no, it's one of those things where I trust in where we're going to the build, but it is one of those where it's like, we got 3 weeks. Where are we going with this? Are we ending it next week, or are we going to end it in 2 weeks? Like, what are we doing? Because I mean, spoiler, if anyone actually follows wrestlers on Twitter, which you should, Tatum's not there the 21st.
Nope.
So it's like, what are we doing with the title? So, it is going to be interesting.
Prince is going to keep it.
Well, yeah, he is Tommy Two Belts. He is our
Well,
prince.
I don't know. I mean, after this weekend, it might not end that way.
God damn it, Livy.
I told you not to.
I finished my thought, so I looked at it.
Okay, but yeah, no, this was a good end to the show, and of course on Mainline it was a lot of fun because everybody but me got chopped this time. This time, of course, I know that people are like, as soon as that contract is up, you're getting your ass kicked so hard. I just want you to know that it's gonna be nasty. But
Deco?
huh?
What?
But next week we have Mayhem at Mid Cities, which kind of used to feel like it was our summer show or SummerSlam type thing for a bit, because this was always one of the big turning points in a lot of ways. I mean, we just had Gauntlet for the Gold. We only have 3 weeks left. Of course, we're going to have big shows each week.
Yes. I mean, got 3 shows left.
But just some of the matches that have been announced. I'll start from the top. Casey Clay, the true hero of MPX, taking on the reincarnation of excellence, which I still have a hard time saying. That's why I don't say it. Honestly.
Reincarnation of excellence. It's easy to say.
For you,
I'm 6 beers in. It's
Mr.
easy to say.
Mr. I can't say catastrophically charismatic.
You couldn't either. Even though you just did. Fuck you. Cody had issues with it, all right? It's a hard
Casey
thing
Clay
to say.
Versus Kari Wright. This match I'm looking forward to because these are two really, really impressive athletes going at each other. And honestly, it's something I wish we could have seen sooner before Casey hurt himself.
Right.
But at the same time, this will be a really good test as to how good that knee of Casey Clay really is.
It's going to be amazing. It's one of those where I've said ever since Kari re-debuted technically in this, with still disorder and everything, it's Kari is a phenomenal talent that, and yeah, to kind of take from you, gets overshadowed by the group he's in. And this match with Casey, hands down, is going to be one of the most athletic, competitive, technical matches we've seen. Because we've all seen, even though he's so young in his career, how good Casey is. And now we've got this different side of Casey, because even when we talked to him last week, we only saw really face Casey in a tag. Seeing him as a single, and it's very different.
Now
and then,
we're going to see what Casey Clay can really be on his own, because he really hadn't had time before turning heel to be, Casey Clay as a face.
Exactly. And this match is definitely one of those with... It's very much like last week. Every match on the card that we've seen so far is fucking going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
But this one, depending on what to do with a couple of the others, this one I feel I'm the most excited for, because it's going to be very possibly match of the night, match of the year, whatever, because these two competitors are amazing.
Yeah, no, it's going to be incredible. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, then after that, we also have the greatest human being alive, Stephen Kirby, taking on the Texas Chainsaw, Sky de Lacrimosa. Wow. Just all I got to say about that one.
Well, and that's one of those where I was saying depending on what we do later, because it's one of those, Kirby's only got 3 matches left. I want to see a mayhem bar fight. I want to see Sky and Kirby in a no-holds-barred hardcore match. That's just give us one more, because these two men in a hardcore match would be amazing. So if somehow they actually change that, it's great. Either way, it's going to be a good match. Don't get me wrong. And I also think it's a little biasness, but having Kirby, and at this point I'll say it, I don't know if it's true or not, but Kirby handpicking his opponents for his last matches, and to have Sky there, it's amazing.
Well, given what we hear, his last match may well be at Purple Rain against 50 caliber Barrett Brown. That's going to be incredible too. I'm already expecting that to be a top contender for match of the night there.
Oh yeah,
because holy shit. Oh, and the dogs are going off. Sorry, somebody just got home. But
Okay.
And this is, it's like, and that's not even the only member of XV/Lost Boys that we're going to have that night. But I also want to talk about a match that I looked at and went, holy crap, as soon as I saw it. We're going to see the Ray of Light, T-Ray, taking on Brixton Shaw. And I'm just like, this is going to hurt to watch.
This is a match I didn't know wanted to see until I saw the graphic.
Yeah, right?
It's one of those that you're like,
right? He's like, you don't.
Why have I not thought of this match before? This is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
T-Ray, one of the best in Texas, finally coming back to MPX, which is thankful because obviously one of the last shows under this management of MPX, and going against Brixton. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be physical. It's going to be super strong. You're going to see. Both these men are huge, and they're going to toss each other around, and it's going to be great.
Hey, you're getting a Haas fight, dude.
Exactly.
And it's going to be a good one, because these two aren't just slow lumbering Haas types. They are actually, quick, and they're going to beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be amazing to have T-Ray back at MPX. Brixton, who we've seen kind of sporadically since his kind of rise in MPX. So, yeah, this is again, it's only 3 weeks. If it's a farewell, there's not a better match to go out on than this.
Yeah, especially for these two. And then, of course, we've got the 2 title matches that have been announced, in which we're going to have Red Chambers versus Tommy Dean finally in that ladder match.
I got my wish.
Unite the championship, because it's match 4 for both of them. And it's going to decide who the actual prospect champion is. And yeah, I'm here for it.
And then it's a golden ticket to cash in whenever after this match, which, and rightfully so, that's the only way to really decide
like I said,
this.
it's like there are multiple ways this night could end in which it's not Tommy 2 belts.
No, it's always going to be Tommy 2 belts.
Because it might be, 2 Tommies, 1 belts each.
But yeah, having Red and Tommy in this is going to be great, and I like the whole, Tommy's got a broken foot thing, because it's like, okay, that's a little disadvantage, and Red, whatever. And we've seen Red. Red is unkillable. Red tries to kill himself and doesn't. So these two men are going to put on a phenomenal ladder match, and to have a okay, we saw a ladder match in MPX with the whole bottle, and now we're getting a proper ladder match with
we
the
also
title
have
and everything.
We also
So
have the King of the Mountain ladder match of with.
yeah, but King of the Mountains are different. I mean, with the whole
it's a
putting
backwards
on,
ladder match.
It is, but it's very different. It's like your whole the stunner and the cutter thing. No, they're not. Stunner and cutter are different.
No,
a ladder
they
match
are
and King.
not.
They are.
They're the same move.
They are not. You take them differently. One's on the knees. One. I'm not arguing this again. They are fucking different.
Yeah, they are,
it's
are
just
different moves.
Thank you. It's like you when Sky even corrected you, he was like, "Oh yeah, zigzag and rock bottom are the same." No, they're fucking not. You know nothing. They're different. But yeah, the King of the Mountain and the ladder are very different, and this is going to be great because again, like I said, yeah, we had the bottle, which was great ladder match, but now we have an actual title ladder match, and having Red and Tommy and what they've built in, I might be wrong, but it's what 2 months maybe. What they've built and the story they've got, and knowing the talent that's in there, they're going to deliver, and it's going to be great.
Yeah. I honestly, and I'm pretty sure I have an idea of how it's going to end, but it's going to be interesting to see one way or the other, especially with like the final match we're going to talk about is the Mad Prince versus the Immortal Jason Silver.
And part of me is sitting there, and I'm like, I honestly, they could go either way, and I think it would work. Yeah, obviously, one of the thoughts, and I'm sure you're going with this. Oh, it's Red, but it's like, if Tommy does it, it still works.
Yeah,
like it's one of those where I feel they could go either way. Yeah, the safe bet is probably on Red, but I mean, like I said, I feel it could go either way.
Yeah. But it's like Jason Silver, the Mad Prince, in an MPX Addicts Championship match. I'm excited to see this one, and it's like I was so proud and happy for Tommy when he won the MPX Addicts Championship, even though I wasn't the happiest with the situation of it. He only won one of them.
Possessions 9-10, sir.
Yeah, and thus Tommy Dean is Prospect Champion. That's why we're
big
having this
title.
Prospect Championship match. It's Tommy Dean's fourth defense. It's just they're going to fast track Red because we don't have much time left. So back to the actual talking about the match. I'm really excited. I'm also kind of hoping really to watch Jason win because this will put. I don't know if he's ever had the Prospect Championship. Has he? I don't think he has. No. I'm talking. Has Jason ever had the Prospect Championship?
So.
This is related, I promise.
He's had the tag and he's had the
MPX Championship.
MPX. I don't think he's ever had Addicts or Prospect.
Ah, damn. So he'll be a Triple Crown instead of a Grand Slam if he wins this match, which is one of the reasons I'm kind of like, at the same time, I'd really like to see Jason win as well because that would make him a Triple Crown champion. And I'm just, one way or the other, this is going to be an incredible match because I have wanted to see the Mad Prince versus Jason Silver just one-on-one. And just beating the snot out of each other kind of match because the two of them are, Mad Prince, much like Red, much like Jason, is kind of unkillable and able, and the moves he is willing to do.
Yeah, they both have the same mentality of, our bodies are immortal. We're just gonna throw them disregard. And I was like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
And also they've both broken the ceiling in different levels of it, but they've both broken the ceiling.
Touche. I mean, I think Silver's definitely busted way worse, but way worse for him. They didn't break the ceiling more, but
I was gonna say, no, I think the Mad Prince has the breaking the ceiling much worse.
Yes, Silver definitely fucked up his face on that one, but like you called it, like I said, T-Ray and Brixton's gonna be very physical. This one also is gonna be probably more physical.
Yeah,
because these are two men who, again, they throw their bodies to disregard, and it's one of those where they will just go beat the shit out of each other, and it should be great.
Oh yeah, no, and it's gonna be just what are we supposed to?
He's already beaten Silver.
Yeah, I know he's beaten Silver, but I'm just saying he's also lost to Silver.
He doesn't remember that.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to remember that.
But like I said, whether it's been one or win or loss, it's just going to be a straight match between these two.
Yes.
And it's just going to be these two doing things to each other that we're all going to look at and go, "Jeez, why?" It's going to run out eventually, right? No. Eventually, fate catches up.
And Mortality doesn't run out.
Yeah.
I've seen that man get hung from a balcony. It's fine.
Yeah. And we'll probably see Tommy do just as crazy shit throughout his career too. So that'll be. Yeah. So it's going to be an incredible night. Mayhem at Mid-Cities. The name is going to be so very accurate because there's going to be a lot of mayhem. And, I don't know. I guess given the fact that he's taking on the Texas Chainsaw, Steven might have to bring out one last time Mr. Mayhem.
Yeah, which, like I said, I'm kind of hoping for. I really want the whole Mayhem bar fight. I think it would be great to, again, if you've only got 3 matches left, go all out. And we know Kirby is. We've already announced it for Purple Rain, or, well, Barrett announced it. Barrett and Kirby at Purple Rain. And that's what we already talked about. Barrett's one of the best in the world. What a better way to go out. And then go ahead and do one of the last hardcore matches with Sky. I think it would be a great way to go out, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But that, of course, leads us to the man of the hour, as I like to say, and it's been an hour, so cool. Johnny O'Mara here with us tonight, and I hope you have questions ready, because, of course, we're going to go through our normal stuff. But, yeah, thank you very much for joining us. First and foremost, you've got a match coming up soon. A tag match in which we're going to, forget the MPX universe for a moment and go across the multiverse to a different show.
Yep. Yeah, this Saturday night, Brawl for It All. This is year 5 at Oak Islands Brewing, and me and Zero back together, man. We're putting the band back together. Right where we should be, the pub crawlers at the brewery.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
It's a perfect place to bring it back.
Yeah. So, it's like, yes, we hope to see everybody at MPX, but at the same time, if you happen to be in that area and you want to go to a different show, go ahead and go there, I guess. I mean, it's not MPX, so, but it seems like it'll be good enough. I mean, the pub crawlers will be there, which actually makes me mad I'm missing it.
Wait, it's a brewery?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, hold up.
Yep. Oak Islands Brewing.
Yep.
They make a very high quality product as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and honestly, since we've gotten to meet you, which I will always love the story of me and Kyle. We were doing Mainline. This is back when we pre-recorded rather than doing it live. Like I said, if I remember correctly, it was when Kyle was first starting the Fuck Hardacus stuff. And Hardacus was a face at the time, so he's just going all in on just lambasting Hardacus.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to forget that next week. That never happened. Those words never came out of my mouth next week.
As soon as we yell cut, or as soon as our production yells cut, we hear this little voice of "Stop being so mean." We're just like, you suck. And we just look over, and there's this little girl. She's just yelling at Kyle for being a heel. Yep. And, of course, that was your daughter.
Yep.
It was great.
Which is also amazing, the fact that she waited till we stopped.
Oh, yeah. That was so awesome. Yeah,
she's great. She understands the business well enough to know when to do what needs to be done and to not interrupt. But then as soon as she knows she can go, she's 100%.
Oh, yeah. That was fantastic. Because I remember we were like, wow, she actually waited till we were done. Most kids would be like just interrupting the show and we'd have to do a recut or just go with that because it was funny. Right. But she just waited till we were done. We're like, oh, wow, okay, cool. Yeah. And then you explained that. I'm like, oh, you're a wrestler. Oh, awesome. And then you explain you're with Pride and Glory. You trained with Ashton and everything like that. And I'm like, wow, cool. I really hope we get to see you here. And then we saw you at that New Guy Battle Royale, to be perfectly honest, or New Guy Scramble.
Yep. No, it was Battle Royale. It was the first time I was there.
Yeah. And it was, it was great to see you. That's also where we first saw Matt Locke, and CJ was there as well. Yep. It's like a really memorable match, and getting to see you actually in the ring was really awesome. So I guess we'll start the actual questions with our normal one. How did you get into wrestling in general, and what brought you into being a wrestler?
Growing up, I watched it as a kid. My dad watched it, so it was just kind of always around. And we were kind of aware of the business anyways. Mm-hmm. My grandpa, I don't know that I'd say he was friends, but he knew of and associated with Grizzly Smith. Mm-hmm. So we just kind of my family had been aware of the business for a long time. Like I said, my dad was a fan, so I watched it my whole life growing up.
That's a familiar story.
And I always loved it, but then mid to late 90s WCW when they started bringing in the smaller guys from Mexico and Japan, you know, Eddie Guerrero and Benoit and Malenko and Mysterio, you know, seeing those guys, you know, because I knew I was never going to be a big, huge guy. Like I could tell pretty early on in my life that was how it was going to be. But seeing those guys come in and seeing them get to do it, you know, that really planted that seed of like, maybe I could actually do this. And then a lot of false starts over the years. I got in contact, late teens, early 20s. I got in contact with XCW, but the timing just didn't work out with my schedule. And then I wound up leaving the state for a few years and kind of checked things out in Indiana and Arizona when I was out there, and didn't work out there. And I'd kind of given up and was just like, well, I'll just be a fan and, you know, just enjoy it that way. And had kind of gotten out of it a little bit after I got back, and had moved down to Denton and just happened to catch a flyer for a VIP wrestling show at a bar in Denton. And I was like, well, you know, tickets aren't bad. You know, I haven't taken the kids or anything to a live indie show ever before. It'd be a fun thing to just go do. So we go out and we're watching the show. And I was just kind of talking to my wife at the time and mentioned, yeah, you know, there's always something I really wanted to do and just never got the chance. And she goes, well, my drug rep at my office and his son are wrestlers. Like, do you want me to get in contact with them? And I was like, yeah, absolutely I do. And it turned out it was Mark Roy, was one of the drug reps for the doctor's office she was working at the time. And so, yeah, she put me in contact with them, and I reached out to Ashton. He said, hey, we're running a show this date. You know, if you want to come out, we can talk. Went out to the show, talked to Ashton, talked to Mark. He said, all right, cool. We'll be putting the ring back together in a couple weeks if you want to come out and see how everything goes, maybe get in and roll around a little bit. And then you can decide if it's something you want to do. And so we went out, got the ring all set up, helped them with that. And then we rolled around, took my first few bumps. And I was hooked. I was like, I've got to see if this is something I can actually do. You know, I wanted to my whole life. Now's my chance. It's probably the last one I'm ever going to get. I got to take it.
Know that feeling too. But you actually went all the way with it.
With we talked about it a little earlier, but with your background in boxing, MMA, everything, when did that start? Was that always like a childhood type thing that you were in contact, or?
Yeah, I started Taekwondo when I was 4 or 5. Did that for a while. Got into a few other different styles over the years. Judo, Hapkido, Kempo, some Golden Gloves boxing, folk style wrestling. I've always liked combat sports more than team sports. I like being on my own. I like, if it fails, it's on me. If it's successful, it's on me. You know, no one else shares in that, and I operate way better on that wavelength. And so I always gravitated to those. But I'd have to bounce around to try to do it. You know, because I grew up in kind of a small town, so options were limited. We didn't have any of that stuff at my school. You know, it was football, basketball, baseball. So no wrestling, no combat sports whatsoever. So, you know, one school had opened for a while. I'd hang there. They'd shut down because somebody'd moved because there's no money. And then, you know, the next place to open would be a different style. Like, well, you know, it's something at least. It's better than nothing. So, yeah, it's been, you know, as far back as I can remember, I've always been doing the combat sports.
Yep. What came first when you was it watching wrestling, or was it the combat sports? And that's what kind of got you into wrestling, was the whole combat aspect of it?
I was definitely watching wrestling. Okay. Because that was, like I said, that was my dad watched. So before I have any memories, you know, he's told me sitting, laying on the living room floor, and he's got wrestling on the TV. So yeah, it's my entire life. Right. Wrestling's been around in one form or another.
Liliana's sitting here going, "Yep, that's my future with our kids." So.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. But no, that's actually really awesome. Like I said, I'm very familiar with that. My mom went to WCCW all the time when she was growing up. So
yeah, I never got to go to WCCW. I went to the Sportatorium a few times for GCW after World Class had gone away.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to get this question out of the way rather than end the show with it because it's the Iron Belly's question and he likes to ask it.
God damn it.
What is the biggest mistake you've made that you don't regret?
And this is where I'll go pee.
I don't know why he doesn't like that question. It's a good question. Yeah, it is. Because it makes the guys think.
I don't know. I've done things that have ended negatively, but I don't know that I consider many of them mistakes, and I definitely don't really consider anything in my life regrets. Everything's led me to where I am, and I like who I am.
That's a good way to put it.
And so, yeah, I don't really do regrets. It doesn't do any good anyways, because I can't change any of it. So stressing out about it is just wasting time.
That is really a good way to look at that. But let's see. Of course, we got the kayfabe question of why did you turn on Zero?
Opportunity. You gotta move up the ladder somehow, and that was the way to do it.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the history of everything like that and everything like that. What was your biggest inspiration in wrestling?
When I was a kid, like you said, it was, as far as the personality, it was Roddy Piper. I loved Roddy Piper my whole life as a kid. He was never the biggest guy, but he wasn't scared of anybody. Mm-hmm. He'd say whatever he thought. He'd fight anybody, and I loved that. And then as I got older, like you said, the smaller guys coming into WCW, especially Malenko. I was a huge Malenko fan. I identify with him a lot because I'm not really a big talker, so I like that no nonsense. This is what I do and this is what I'm good at, and that's all that needs to happen. The talking happens in the ring. So Malenko was a huge inspiration for me. And then getting a little bit older and starting to get into it, CM Punk's always been real big for me. I've been a huge fan of his, even back from the old ROH days. And Tommy End, Malachi Black, I've always loved his stuff. I like his combat, shoot combat style. So I've loved that since the first time I saw him.
Oh, yeah. No, it's like I'd never heard of Tommy End before he came in as Aleister Black, but as soon as somebody told me, it's like, no, go look at his indie stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy crap, I love this guy.
Yeah.
It's like full-on Hermetic Magic's gimmick and, just an ass kicker to boot. That's, yeah.
From what I've seen in interviews with him, like his path was, he loved wrestling, but the only path he saw into it, because there were no schools where he was at, was to do the combat sports. And so he used the combat sports as a vehicle to help get him to wrestling.
Oh, well, that suddenly makes a lot of sense why you like him so much.
Well, and I feel that's a lot of wrestlers. We hear a lot of their backgrounds and their stories are combat sports because that it's that outlet to get in there. You even look what was it? I mean, us growing up in the Attitude Era, that's all JR ever talked about is their football backgrounds because that's a combat sport thing to get into.
Well, and really up until this current generation, the business was still protected a lot, so it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't
Even
like there was a flyer.
We didn't.
We knew, but there wasn't a flyer on the door of every wrestling show saying, "Here's the wrestling school."
Yeah.
Like you had to go search that out and really seek it out to try to find a place. And so, guys would be like, "Well, I want to do that. I don't know exactly how to do that, but that's fighting, so I should start with fighting, and then I'll figure the rest out as I go along."
So, very stupid question. Is the cloverleaf because of Malenko love, or is it because it fits with the Irishness?
I started doing it because of Malenko, but it happened to fit and work out. But it was a thing that I've been doing since I started training. Before any of my stuff developed, before I ever even tried to develop a character, I was doing the cloverleaf.
That was like one of the first things you're like, nope, I want to learn that. And I want to do that.
Let's see. Greg asks, do you like singles wrestling or tag wrestling better? I think you kind of sort of answered this with preferring combat sports over team sports, but at the same time.
Tag, it's I don't know that I have a preference, really. I don't like doing one or the other exclusively for too long because they're different animals. Like you think of the match differently. The psychology's different. The the way you do everything's different.
Yeah.
You know, because you've got that other person there to be like, well, here's the things we can do with both of us, and here's your strengths and my weaknesses for you to cover, and here's my strengths that'll cover these weaknesses of yours.
Right.
And then you're adding, you know, an extra person in on the other side too of what can they do, what can't they do, how do we mesh all 4 people together.
Right.
And so it's a different challenge and a different way to think about it. And I think one can inform the other, and you can pick up little things and tricks and learn things to do that benefit both. So I don't really like to be stuck one way or the other.
In which we obviously know the pub crawls on Zero. Is that kind of your only experience in tag teams as far as like an actual, like, nope, this is my partner and that's all I've done? Or have you other tag teams elsewhere? Like, okay, other than one-offs, like an actual like partner?
No, Zero's been it. That's the only, and that was, so when I first walked in the door for that Battle Royal at MPX, I had been wrestling. I had only been training for a year. And, you know, I had done, I don't know, half a dozen shows at that point. And did the Battle Royal, and then got a message, hey, we want to bring you back in. All right, cool. What do you got for me? They said, tag team. This is who you got. And, yeah, it's been me and Zero ever since.
Nice.
Yeah. And honestly, it's like when I got told, it's like, yeah, I just got thrown together out of nowhere. And it's like, yeah, but it works. The gimmicks work together.
I was going to say,
their
it's like one of the,
work together.
It's one of the most perfect pairings that they've really done.
And then, and then it's like the name comes out the next week after that of the Pub Crawlers. And it's just like, yes, 100% yes, this is it. And
yeah,
then,
and a lot of it, to begin with especially, like, we didn't really start even trying to make the tag team be a thing until probably 3 or 4 weeks in.
Yeah.
Because we were both kind of like, the first time was like, oh, it's just a one-off thing. You know, we've got similar gimmicks, so it's just this one-off thing to get, you know, a tag match in. And then immediately, oh, you're going to do it again. All right, cool. You know, we'll start bringing in a little cohesion and talk about some things. And it wasn't until 3 or 4 that we were even like, well, maybe we should come up with music and start really trying to, like, actually do this.
And the fact is, like, y'all coming out with the kilts, then eventually the Stars jerseys and everything like that. And it's like, it's just honestly, it's like Celtic punk, you know, crust punk, all of that just worked together. It's like, honestly, one of my favorite tag teams, regardless of how it ended at MPX. But yeah, no, it was really, really awesome.
Which we say that, but I also like, because I like that story of best friends and one turning on you. I enjoy that. So like when it happened, I was like, okay, this is amazing. Let's see where we go with this.
Yeah.
How did that kind of come about? What was that experience like? Were you like, you all for it, or were you like, but we're still a good tag team. People love us. Like, what was that experience like?
I mean, yeah, there was definitely some disappointment, but at the same time, we hadn't been doing a whole lot lately either. So it was nice to be able to get to try something new and change things up a little bit. And really, like, I knew it was going to give me at least one more opportunity to wrestle Zero. I love wrestling Zero because we've learned each other so well working together.
Right.
And yeah, we can go out and just beat the hell out of each other and be like, all right, here's what we're gonna do, and just go out and talk to each other, and like we don't have to think and overanalyze, and like we could just go out and have fun.
Yeah.
And I love getting to do that with Zero.
Yeah.
It's like, and honestly, that last match the two of y'all had, regardless of the complaints from management that we got to hear on Rehab as well, honestly, that last match was really good in my opinion. I thought it, had a lot of weight to it, especially with the emotional impact of it and everything. But yeah, it's like that's honestly really good memory and everything like that. Rusty asks, so what's your favorite memory since starting to wrestle at MPX?
Yeah, that's a difficult question. It's been a good 2.5 years. I don't know. It's hard to pick one favorite thing. I mean, there's been a ton of great experiences, and yeah, I don't know that I could pick a favorite, honestly.
I know one of my favorites is when you won the Prospect Championship off of Gabe. That was a lot of fun. Really cool.
that was a fun one.
That's a chop for you now.
I know. I already knew that was coming the moment I was going to say it. It's like I resigned myself to that. Like I said, I know that last week was a one-off. I'm still going to get the shit kicked out of me by others. But let's see. How far have you traveled to wrestle since you started?
The farthest I've been is down Houston, Beaumont. I've been down there a few times. San Antonio. I don't make a huge effort to go way out most of the time. I've got a limited amount of time. My real job, I've got obligations there. And, now different family situation also limits my time. So yeah, I don't make a huge effort to get way out. I keep my eyes open for opportunities that would work for me. Nothing's really come up to do a big trip somewhere. Right. Hopefully one day, but I don't push it too hard.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense, honestly. Which do you prefer? What gives you more energy, being a face or being a heel?
Cheers or booze?
Yeah,
what do you love?
Honestly, I like being a face better. It's being a heel's fun, but there's a certain amount of struggle for me with it because I can do the ring work pretty well and pretty easy. Because the violence and the aggression, I can bring that out real well. But to me, what's always made a great heel is being a talker. Like some of the best ones have always been the talkers, and I'm not a shit talker by nature. Even when I've done the legit combat, and I've been in real bar fights.
You much rather let your actions speak for you.
Yeah, I've just never been that person that's been a big shit talker, and so it doesn't come naturally to me. And trying to do crowd work is a real struggle for me. I've got some pretty bad hearing loss, and so when there's that much noise going around, I can't pick out any one thing that anyone's saying.
Yeah.
So I can't respond. So if I do anything, it's just got to be real generic stuff, and I don't like having to be generic. I like being able to respond to what's going on, but since I can't hear it, it makes it a struggle.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Honestly, for me, it's like from what I've seen, it's like you would make like the quintessential tweener.
Yeah.
The kind of thing we used to see back in the Attitude Era, where it's like you had those guys it's like, are they a heel? Are they a face? They're wrestling the bad guys, but the way they're wrestling is not a face style.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've gotten that quite a bit actually, is because I do, especially lately, I've been bringing that more violent style in and that more just aggressive, street fighter, bar fighter style. And yeah, people will watch my matches and they're like, "Man, are you turning heel? Like, is this a turn for you?" I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just doing what I like to do and just trying new stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and I liked, I think it was the Rumble. It was right before you turned on Zero. It was, you had the tights, and I was like, holy shit, those look amazing.
Yeah.
Is there, because we heard Zero talk about it a little bit, what's the difference in wrestling in the kilts and the tight? Like, because talking about Zero, you had to learn how to wrestle with the kilt on.
Yeah, absolutely you do. And not only do you have to learn how to wrestle yourself with it on, you've got to learn how to make sure the guy you're working with doesn't screw you over because he hasn't done it. He hasn't been there's no expectation that this guy should know how to deal with this thing that you brought into the ring.
Right.
It's a totally new factor.
Yeah,
it goes everywhere.
And it's one of those where I didn't ever think of that until Zero started explaining. I go, oh, I've never thought of that before. Like, yeah,
once I decided that was what I was gonna do, I did every training session 3 days a week for 3 months before I felt real comfortable getting in the ring and really like doing everything with it on. Because it moves in weird ways and it goes in weird places. And a guy comes up to give you even something simple, a rear chin lock. You take a snapmare, you float over. If the back kicks out, you don't roll over on it. That guy drops and hooks you. and you're ready to go, and you're going to get up, and you get here,
Yep, and you're
and you're
stuck.
stuck. You're just stuck. There's nothing you can do, and it's real hard to tell that guy, like, hey, you
Right.
got to move your leg so I can get up.
That's when things get a little more real, and you're like, get off, bam.
And it's just, and people get worried about it. That's another thing that I encounter a lot when I wrestle with it, is people are really afraid they're going to hurt it. And like you're not, like you just, it's real durable. I've been rolling around in this thing.
If you've got a real kilt, that thing is made to be able to take the Scottish Highlands and everything like that. You have to do a lot to actually damage it.
Yeah, it's very tough. But it does, it throws people off a lot the first time they have to deal with it. Schaefer kind of not freaked out, but it threw him off when me and Zero wrestled him and Sebastian. Because their finisher was the electric chair and it'd pop off. When he picked me up, as soon as he got me up, it dropped in front of him. And so he's blind, hoping for the best.
I hope Sebastian's there.
Yeah, pretty much.
But that's the moment where you just really got to trust your partner. And now, it's like, of course, Sebastian and Schaefer are starting to look to get bookings outside of MPX as Best Picture, which I fully support, of course.
Oh, of course you do. But no, it was a great tag team. I definitely endorse that too.
Yeah. And of course, I know the answer to this because you and I have actually had conversations about this one. But Greg asks, do you have actually have Irish history in your genes?
I absolutely do. I am almost 100% Celtic. I'm Irish, Scottish, and Welsh.
Nice.
I knew there was that one small part of you I didn't like so much. But
Omara actually came about because my actual family name was it just doesn't flow right. Like, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of my heritage, but Fitzpatrick just doesn't fit with anything. It just doesn't flow right. It sounds weird all the time. Because I tried at first. It was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I want to do and I'm like coming up with different first names for it, and it just, nothing worked. And finally I was like, I'm going with something else. Yeah. I'm changing it, and I'll just figure something else out.
As a matter of fact, like I said, one of your fans made sure we had give you a gift. Okay, so this is a two-part question of what has been your favorite match since you started, and what is a dream match you want to have?
I think my favorite match that I've had, either Malico, when I was very first breaking in. That was a huge one for me. Because my daughter was a huge fan of Malico. Loved Malico.
Oh, she had to be torn about that one. Daddy,
I was like, how did that work?
We didn't tell her either.
Oh!
Yeah, we didn't say anything at all. And she had
let her mark out for real.
She had kind of figured it out because she knew who all was there for the show,
right?
And so she's seeing these matches go through, and like she's running through it in her head, and she's like, well, they're running out of people. And then Malico comes out, makes his entrance, and then my music starts, and she was not happy at all. Like she got into it and she enjoyed it, but it was a really funny moment for me.
I believe that, yeah.
That one's definitely way up there. And then really probably that last one was Zero. Like it's so, like I said, it's so fun to work with him, and it's so easy and natural. And just being able to tell a story with him is great. I love being able to work with him.
Awesome. And dream match?
Man, I've gotten to work a lot of those already.
Oh.
I've gotten real lucky. Who haven't I worked that I really want to? Honestly, I don't know if I'd call it a dream match, but like the one match I really, really want right now that I haven't had the chance to get is I want Matlock 1-on-1. We have done we've done so many multi-mans and battle royals together, and we've done spots, and like we've been right there with each other, even tag matches.
Yeah.
You know, we've done tag matches with him and Smash, but I've never gotten to do Matlock one-on-one, and I want that match so bad. Like
That would
that's
be
my
awesome.
top of my list right now.
I'll be honest, guys. Like as I was watching the Gauntlet match happen, was sitting there thinking, it's like, you know, it'd be a real fun match to watch. JD and Johnny, that would be real fun to watch.
I've gotten to wrestle JD a couple of times, and it's great every time. I love working with JD. He's so smooth and so easy. We've done a couple up at Red River.
Yep.
And like I said, both of them just easy matches. Everything smooth, everything telling the story the way it needs to be told.
Yeah.
I love working with JD. He is the consummate professional in the ring.
Oh yeah, no, he's amazing, and actually, I can't wait to have him back on this show too. Actually, and it's like now that I'm thinking about it, as much as Nick killed it in that match, I'd also love to see you and Brixton in that tape fist match that he had at Fight Win Survive, because it's just like that would have been a hell of a matchup.
Yeah. I love working with Brixton too.
I was gonna say they go into the whole Irish brass knuckle fighter. Yeah.
I was just like, then you'd have Ireland versus England again. And of course, Greg asks, did you ever teach your daughter that Kyle's actually real and doing his job when he's bad-mouthing people?
She picks up on that all on her own.
Yeah.
She's got a pretty good understanding of the business, honestly. Like she's been around it since she was pretty little, and there wasn't really ever a time when I was getting in that she wasn't around. And then with the Roys, you know, they're such a welcoming family that, you know, there would be a lot of time around shows where everyone on the shows would get together and be together. And so she would be around that. So she learned, like I said, she learned the backside of the business real early on.
Yeah.
And that was why, like I said, she knew that, oh, this thing's going on. I can't interrupt that because it needs to happen. But then I can do my thing.
Yeah. Honestly, I was like, I could almost see her going on with the business and everything like that. But as we've seen with other, you know, little children who are like all into the business when they're kids, you know, since teenage years happen.
I was gonna say that's actually I was gonna ask. Would you want her to follow if she wanted to, or are you kind of like, no, don't do that?
Well, it's not like anybody's gonna, you know, have a chance to mess with her more than once, given who her dad is.
Well, it's not even that. It's just we've seen a lot of parents, like I believe Dusty was one of the ones who's I never wanted my kids to do this, and of course both of them do it.
Yeah.
There's so many wrestlers like, no, never get into it. It's horrible. It's great but horrible.
Yeah.
I was just curious, with you having a kid, what was your thoughts on that?
I would probably prefer she didn't. But if she decided she wanted to, I'd still support her 100% of the way. I'd teach her everything I could. I'd do everything I could for her if she wanted to get involved. And a lot of it's just, it's not even so much, like I seem to be fairly durable, and I've gone through my time in the business, you know, relatively unscathed. But not everybody's that lucky.
Right.
I mean, people end up, you know, one wrong move and your life changes. And yeah, I don't know that I'd want her to take that risk just because, you know, I don't ever want to see my kids get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know she's still very young right now. Is she doing like any type of sports or anything that kind of leans toward, like not necessarily combat or stuff like that, but just anything in general?
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're hearing the noise and the thumping in the background, that would be Rocky playing with his best friend. So.
She's not doing anything currently, but she will be trying out for soccer and rugby soon.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
Rugby? Oh, man, she's going to be a perfect fit for wrestling then.
yeah, well, when I can, I play for my local club. And so just to get out of the house sometimes, she would want to come with me to practice. And my club's super inclusive. So anyone that shows up and wants to run can run.
Nice.
So and that's anyone from 8 to 80. Like there's no discrimination with my rugby club.
That's awesome.
And so she showed up, and her plan was just to kind of hang out. And coach looked at her and said, "You want to run?" And she said, "Yeah." Jump in line. And so yeah, she's running drills, passing the ball, you know, learning all the rugby skills, and she
Nice.
loves it.
No,
And so now they're offering a kids club up where she's living,
nice.
and she wants in.
Hey, that's awesome.
Awesome.
So, do you prefer British rules or Aussie rules for rugby?
I'm not a big fan of the Aussie, and I'm union all the way. I'm not a league guy. But yeah, regular standard rugby union is my preferred game. The Aussies are nuts.
That's why I thought it was a valid question, because I could see you totally getting into the Aussie style of rugby, just killing people.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm traditional union rules, but I also like the more Southern Hemisphere style of play. Northern Hemisphere, Six Nations, all that. It's a lot of crash ball, and it's a lot of territory over possession. So it's like, if we can't move or we don't feel like we can move, kick it away, get the ball down the other side of the field, hope we can get it back on the other end. I like the Southern Hemisphere style, where it's finesse, it's skill, it's playing the game and making meters.
Yep.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's like I love American football, but it's like every time I watch rugby, I'm like, I don't understand half of what's going on here, but goddamn, this is entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was how I got into it too. It was flipping through channels and coming on ESPN at like 2:00 in the morning. And I was like, well, that ball looks vaguely familiar. And then they started hitting each other, and I'm like, oh, they don't have any pads on. Like, I don't know what's going on.
This
and
is
I don't know what the point of
concussions
this.
and broken knees.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know what the point of this game is, but I'm interested.
So now, have you ever gone hurling?
I have not. I would love to, but I haven't had the chance yet.
Oh man, that is like I've seen. It's like, admittedly, it's like my first experience watching it was that Disney that made for TV Disney movie Luck of the Irish.
Yeah.
In which they started it, and then I actually watched a hurling game. I'm like, oh my god, it's lacrosse but meaner.
Yeah, yeah. It's a weird mix of lacrosse and cricket almost. 'Cause it's you're just running around with a bat essentially.
Seriously, go watch the British Isles versions of a whole lot of sports that we know and love here, and you will see a whole different game. Except for British football, because they're a bunch of pansies. Dropping, he's like, oh, I'm hurt. Oh,
Yeah.
God, I hated watching that. I was like, no, let's actually play the game here, guys.
Yeah, that's the huge difference between rugby football players and English football players.
Your arm's hanging at a weird angle. I'm fine, let's go.
Yeah. We'll tape. It'll be fine. Get me back on the field. Give me back.
Let's see. Have you ever gotten an injury that made your job worry about you?
Not
Which is
worry
a
so
perfect
much.
question with what we've been talking about.
Not worry so much, because I'm open about what I do. I don't really care if anybody knows. So my job knows that I do it. I've come in, busted lip, black eyes. Like I said, I've been real lucky. The most significant injury I've had is breaking my pinky, and I did that continually for close to a year. I think I initially broke it in a rugby match. And then right about the time it would heal up, I'd do something in a wrestling match, and it'd break again. And then it'd start to heal up, and I'd try to be careful for a while, and then something would happen in rugby practice, and I'd break it again. So, like, the first knuckle of my pinky on my right hand was black for probably close to a year. Because I just kept breaking it, and I wouldn't take any time off, and I wouldn't go. The doctor's not going to do anything. They're going to tape it together and tell me to take it easy.
Yeah,
I just taped it together myself and did what I wanted.
I have, I have sprained my ankle and everything like that. And they're like, you really should go to the doctor. It's like, doctor's not going to do anything I can't do myself. Yeah. I know what it is. I'm going to just put on a boot and I'll be fine.
Yeah, medical tape and popsicle sticks. I've got that at home already.
But you've talked about, you haven't traveled far, and if something happens, it happens, and everything like that. Is there anything you would actually like to see happen with your wrestling career?
I don't have a specific goal in mind. The original goal when I got into it was, I'm 32 years old. Can I do this? Like, is it too late? And everything else has just kind of been a bonus at this point. I'm not I don't expect to make it to one of the big feds or anything like that. And I never have. That's never been the goal. So it's really just You know, can I keep doing this? Can I do it safely? Can I maintain that reputation as a solid hand? And that's really my only goal. Everything else is just, you know, it's just window dressing at that point. You know, if I get to travel, great. Because even when I travel in the state, you know, I don't try to make it a money making deal. I don't try to make it anything like that. You know, I'll get a hotel room. I'll stay the whole weekend. I'll enjoy the city.
Nice.
And so I don't try to do, you know, I've got a ton of respect for those guys that are doing, you know, Thursday night, then driving 150 miles and doing a show Friday night, and then, you know, going to another city and do it's like, I've got a ton of respect for those guys, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, I'll travel and
You're a weekend warrior, not a road warrior.
exactly. and I'm fine with that. Like I said, and if I'm going to travel and I'm going to spend, because I don't sit still very well anyways.
Right.
If I'm going to sit in a car for 6, 8, 10 hours to get to a city, I don't want to drive 6, 8, 10 hours, jump out of the car, throw my gear on, do a show, jump back in the car,
Right back.
and either come back home or go to the next. Like, I want to enjoy it. I want to take my time.
It's not just a show; it's a trip.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how I treat it.
Which that's cool. I mean, honestly, I've done a couple out of town shows, doing as the certified mark and everything like that. But I'm just like, you know, I really wish I could take more time doing this.
Yeah, if I'm going more than about 4 hours out, I'll at least get a hotel room for the night after the show and not drive back.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, that's awesome. Honestly, it's really great. Do we have any more questions from people? No? I mean, they're all here watching, but everybody just kind of got quiet when you started talking, which I can understand.
Well, there was one. I thought Richard had a really great point. He says, I think there is a demon locked inside Johnny waiting to get out. And when it escapes, there's going to be a lot of eyes opened about you. And I have felt that for a long time, too. I think you and Zero both kind of have that. And that's why I think I liked the whole heel turn or whatever. I was like, oh, we're going to see this different side that's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
and I think it could have worked either way. If it was Zero, if it was you, I think you were probably the better choice because of how beloved and longer Zero has been with the Addicts.
Yeah.
Having you do that and then seeing the difference, I thought was great. And I do agree with Richard. I think there is something that a lot of eyes would be open more when we see that viciousness of it.
Yeah.
Because we've seen glimpses, we haven't seen it fully.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, he kind of pointed out, like, management was kind of down on the whole Zero Johnny match because they wanted a more viciousness that they know is there. And it was one of those where it's like, it was still good, but it wasn't what I guess they had lived up in their minds.
Yeah.
Which just goes to prove that I'm not the only one that sometimes builds up these matches too big in their head, and then when it's good, it's not the great they're expecting. You're a little disappointed. That happens. Greg asks, have you ever had an influence on your life or anyone or what's been a major influence on your life?
There you go.
There we go. Make that a little more concise.
I mean, probably the biggest thing that contributes to a lot of stuff in my life is music. That's been my escape. It's been my salvation.
No wonder you and Zero are friends.
Yeah, it honestly, like, putting me and Zero together was probably the most perfect pairing.
I'm surprised the two of you don't hang out with Ross more, given how much of a crust punk fan he is.
Yeah, and I got sucked into the punk scene. I was probably about 13 or so. And honestly, I did it backwards, I think, from what a lot of people do. A lot of people, it seems, will find the more modern stuff and they'll start working their way back. You know, people around my age, it'll be, you know, they hit like Green Day and Rancid, and, you know, if they get into some of the more Celtic stuff, you know, Dropkick and... but I was the other way. Like, I started out with, like, the Clash and the Vandals and Social Distortion and the Sex Pistols and, you know, New York Dolls, which people argue whether or not they were punk, they were part of the scene.
There's always going to be, you're going to have those gatekeepers. You're like,
they're
not punk.
Is.
It's like, I remember in high school, I was listening to a NoFX CD, and somebody who's like a gatekeeping crust punk type was like, they're not actually punk. It's like, fuck you, yes they are. Fat Mike is fucking punk.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I started out with the old school stuff and then kind of came up into the modern and have been kind of discovering it all as it comes out and as I go along. But yeah, I was, you know, in high school I was that righteous anger kid and Like I would break rules just to prove a point, and knowing full well I was going to get in trouble for it. And yeah, I mean, just being involved in the punk scene has had a huge impact on the way I view the world and my morality and just the way I operate on pretty much every level.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite band?
Ooh.
Got to make it real hard for you.
Yeah. Current or all time?
Ooh, let's go with both. Let's start with current and all-time favorite.
So current, again, it goes back. There's an argument to be made about whether or not they're punk. They definitely came from the punk scene. But right now, Rise Against has really been the biggest thing I've been listening to.
Okay.
I love their stuff. From their old stuff that was, really true old school style punk. Like State of the Union is a 2-minute just blasting punk song.
Full DIY shit.
Yeah, exactly. All the way up to the stuff they've been putting out lately. I love everything Rise Against does. I love the message that they put out, because they, regardless of whether or not you want to call the music true punk music anymore.
Man, ever since Green Day, I've just stopped listening to people who say anything's true punk or not.
Yeah, but the way they got to where they are was that old school punk style. Their message is a punk message. It's that pick everybody up. There's things wrong. We should be pissed off about it, and we should be doing everything we can to fix it. And then all time, really the band that really brought me into the punk scene, Social Distortion.
Nice.
I loved Social Distortion for the minute I heard them.
Yeah.
Clearly, judging by your shirt.
No, I remember it's like I was a big pop punk fan back in high school and everything like that. I was also a huge goth fan as well, which is weird dichotomy there. But if you knew my friends and family when I was growing up, it makes perfect sense. But a roommate I had actually, during the early days of Napster, suddenly I had a whole bunch of punk songs, like DIY crust punk songs and everything like that. And Social Distortion, Take Away, the Ball and Chain.
Yeah.
It's like just listening to that, I'm like, this is like deep on a level I did not get that punk could be, and then suddenly Social Distortion.
There was
awesome.
there was a ton of those. Like Mike Ness doesn't get enough credit for like what his songs meant.
Absolutely.
And the meaning you can take away and how they can help you. I mean, Angel's Wings is a gorgeous song and a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Winners and Losers is tells a great story and is a great song. Like Mike Ness is to me probably one of the greatest punk songwriters ever.
Because he doesn't. My favorite part about him is the fact that he doesn't subscribe to like punk has to sound this exact way. It has to be the hard, messy, chugga chugga type shit.
Yeah,
sometimes
Mike
on
Ness is
DIY
open
punk.
to music.
Yeah,
more than anything. I mean, he's covered Johnny Cash.
God, yes.
And
Social Distortion's Ring of Fire.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. He had a country act open for him a couple years ago when he played House of Blues.
That's awesome. Oh man, I wish.
And I think it was Steve Earle's son. I think it was the opening act for Social Distortion at House of Blues a few years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Let's see. Greg actually asks, "What ring music? If you were to change your music, what ring music would you want now?"
Another Dropkick Murphys, right?
It's like when you went to Tooraloo and everything like that, I was like, can you be any more typical? But at the same time, good music.
It is.
Well, I went with that because like everybody knows Shipping Up to Boston. Everybody knows State of Massachusetts.
Yep.
And I was like, I will not use those. I flat refused. I just would not.
That's
do
okay.
It.
I always before the pub crawlers became a thing. I was always thinking it's like we need to get Johnny and Tyler Jett and Zero and it's like all these drinker types and come out to Good Rats.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, not a lot of people know Tooraloo. Like, it's kind of a weird. You've got to be into that scene. Yeah. Because the Bollocks was never his main band. It was never his main. Like he did it. He started out doing it for fun with his Irish buddy.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason that thing started. It was just him and his buddy playing guitar and bullshitting and starting to play pub songs. And they were like, "Oh, this is fun. Maybe we should do something with it." And that was why I went with this. Like, I want something people don't have all these preconceived notions about. And it's something different.
Yeah.
And did that for a while. I tried on a couple other things, a couple other Celtic punk bands. Just happened to come across Prisoner's song, and the beat went right, and I really liked it, and I switched to that. Honestly, I think if I switched again, I don't know that I would do another Celtic song. I think so. Obviously, right now I'm doing with the heel stuff. I'm doing "Devil in Our Wake" by Shaman's Harvest, and that one came about just like once I got told I was turning. I was like, well, fuck, now I got to figure this out. Because I got no warning. I was just like, yeah, this is what we're doing next week. And I was like, all right, cool.
Well, at least you were told a week in advance and not the day of.
Which has happened.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Of course it has.
No high hopes.
But yeah, I had to figure it out. So I went on and just started doing, like, I think I started out with Sons of Texas. And was like radio from there, and I'll just listen and see what pops up. And I'd never heard Devil in Our Wake before. I'd heard Shaman's Harvest, and I've always liked their stuff. But just that little build up to the intro and that sudden hit, and I was like, that's it. And then that grindy guitar. But I think if I did some different music as a face now at this point, I think it'd probably be Drones by Rise Against.
Okay.
I love the way that song plays.
Yeah. Okay, Greg's got another question, and I'm actually going to change this because I want to know more than just the examples you gave. Your favorite Celtic wrestler, like Scotch, Irish, Welsh, whatever.
Balor.
Yeah.
Balor?
Yep, Finn Balor for sure.
Nice.
Awesome. That's a great one. It looks like Remedy wanted to say something, but it's deciding not. I don't know. We'll see. It's like, we're hoping to see you soon, sir.
Maybe it's a warning.
Yeah, it might be. This is Remedy we're talking about. Love
Yeah.
the man to death, but he's scary as hell. Oh man, that's another fight I'd love to see you and Remedy.
Yeah.
I know. I was real disappointed we didn't get to do the weapons match.
Yeah.
I was
I mean,
really looking.
Don't get me
forward
wrong. I absolutely loved watching you and Iron Belly, but yeah, there's that as well.
to it. Yeah, I was really looking forward to that one.
Yeah. But okay, and we're about at time anyway. So thank you very much, Johnny, for joining us. This is actually one that since COVID started, and we kind of sort of got you on our online thing.
Yeah.
But of course, like I said before,
That's right.
Rogelio
We all drink together.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, it was the
Rogelio and Brad just took over, and we're just like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was wanted to get this one as well. And Remedy says he was upset also.
Yes.
Yeah. We just hope everything's okay with you, man. Obviously.
Yeah, man. Hope everything's good. We'll get one down the road, Remedy.
But yeah, thank you very much for being on here. It was great to have you. I'm glad our schedules finally matched up enough to be able to do that. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, be here tomorrow night. We've already gone through last week and this week's show, so that means tomorrow night is going to be entirely dedicated to Matthew Palmer. And of course, we'll happily talk about everything from his days as the Centerfold to the Anarchist to what his enjoyment of being the Monster Hunter. So
And on
thank you,
Friday
ladies
the
and gentlemen.
13th. Perfect.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah,
it's just
Friday the
amazing.
It is
13th.
perfect.
Yeah, it's like Ernie made a post about. I was like, prepare. Friday the 13th poster coming soon. It's like, yeah, we've got the ultimate one. So either way, thank you for watching. Make sure you have your tickets for this weekend and of course the rest of May because we're coming towards the end.
They're going to go fast.
Unless and until they tell us different, I'm going with the thought that MPX is closing its doors. Be there for Purple Rain, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Get your tickets now for that. I can only imagine it's going to be sold out.
It's going to be. It's first of all, it's okay the last show, but it's also Purple Rain.
Yeah.
Always standing room anyway. So.
So thank you for joining us. Keep it kayfabe, wrestling fans.
See y'all Saturday.
So yeah,
This is
my
where
first.
you say mark out.
Oh yeah, mark out. Yeah.